Last week we sat around the table, dreaming about the kind of summer we wanted to create. Not ones filled with busy schedules, but one filled with wonder, adventure and time together. Sometimes the best memories don't happen by accident. Sometimes they begin with a simple decision to slow down. So we packed the car, left home for a few days and headed towards the North Wales coast. There's something comforting about watching the countryside slowly change outside the window. Before you've even arrived, life somehow begins to slow down. As we opened the caravan door, the first thing we noticed wasn't the view. It was the quiet. The kind of quiet that reminds you you've left everyday life behind, if only for a little while. Holidays have a funny way of changing your pace. The list of things to do disappears, and simply walking becomes enough. We followed the boardwalk through the dunes, never quite knowing what we'd find when we reached the beach. When the tide is out, everything feels a little bigger. The sand stretches further than you imagine, and the sea waits patiently on the horizon. The beach looked completely different to what we'd expect. Instead of rushing straight to the sea, we found ourselves exploring what it had left behind. Shallow pools became places to paddle. Driftwood became part of the adventure. Even a bucket and spade were enough to fill an afternoon with quiet excitement. It's a gentle reminder that children rarely need perfect conditions to have a wonderful time. Together we built a little sandcastle, decorated it with shells, and of course planted a Hive flag on top. It's funny how something so simple can feel strangely important. Maybe because moments like these are never really about the sandcastle. They're about who built it together. Every beach eventually asked you to head home. You brush the sand from your shoes, carry a little more in your pockets, and a little more in your memory too. Back at the caravan, swimsuits hung to dry. The kettle, of course, went on. And the tea was poured. Of course, there was cake on a plate. Somehow, these rituals always seem to become part of the holiday too. Adventures don't always happen outdoors. Sometimes they happen at the bottom of a slide. The arcade wasn't really about winning prizes at all. It was about watching tiny little hands discover that one little coin can make lights flash, music play, and faces light up. Wonder really can be wonderfully simple. Before long, the journey towards home began. The car was a little sandier, and we were a little more tired, but our hearts felt wonderfully full. Looking back at the mood board, I realised something. One picture had quietly become a memory, and somehow that made all the others feel a little closer too. Maybe that's what this summer is really about. Not chasing perfection, but making space for meaningful ones. One adventure, one quiet moment, one memory at a time. From our hive to yours.